Hello and welcome to Formula Pulse. This is the Dutch Grand Prix post-race rumour mill, your snapshot of the weekend's gossip and paddock talk. Max Verstappen sent the fans home happy from Zandvoort, but it was the off-track intrigue that actually probably proved more interesting than the race itself this weekend. But I guess at least we actually got a race this weekend. So let's get straight into the rumours. First up, a lot of the talk this weekend was about George Russell and how many believe that it's now academic that he's going to be in that Mercedes seat next year. Lewis Hamilton seemed to all but confirm the move in his press conference on Friday. He also took the time in this press conference to kind of put to bed the rumours that he was unhappy about Russell joining, and he suggested that he was actually welcoming the challenge of a talented driver joining him in the team. And again, this did nothing but really confirm that that decision's probably been made by the Mercedes team. Nico Rosberg, kind of in his new role as professional pot stirrer, actually went as far to suggest the deal was already been signed and Netflix were there to film the event. So that might be something we see on the next season of Drive to Survive. The next question on this one now seems to be when, not if, it's going to be confirmed. So could we see that actually come through in Monza next weekend? This obviously means that Valtteri Bottas is going to be looking for a seat, and it's believed that he's going to be joining Alfa Romeo. He suggested, that he was looking for a 2-year deal, something he hadn't been getting at Mercedes. And again, this all points to Bottas joining Alfa Romeo, with a deal potentially being announced at Monza at the team's home race. He'll of course be replacing Kimi Räikkönen, who announced that his 20-year career is going to be coming to an end. In classic Kimi fashion, he said on Friday, that Formula One hasn't been his whole life, but definitely it's going to be a sad one to see Kimi leaving the sport as such a popular character and such a well-loved driver in the sport. Driver that's going to join Bottas at Alfa Romeo is the other really controversial talking point of the weekend. It seems like we're heading for either Nick de Vries or Alex Albon in their vacant seats at Williams or Alfa, but there's some jockeying about who's actually going to go where out of those two. Sources indicate that Williams want Albon and Albon fancies Williams, but Toto Wolff isn't keen on a Red Bull driver being powered by a Mercedes engine next season. The Mercedes boss did initially deny that he'd blocked the move, but then suggested that Red Bull would need to actually drop Albon completely for the move to be allowed. So we'll have to see whether Williams are swayed by that one, and we should know the answer sooner rather than later. And it looks like wherever Albon goes, de Vries will go to the opposite seat, and it could be even that Albon ends up at Alfa Romeo and de Vries ends up at Williams, which would make sense given that Mercedes power the Williams car. And then to throw an even more complicated spanner in the works, we had Antonio Giovinazzi qualifying 7th place on Saturday, his best grid position ever, so who knows, he may end up even being back in the running for that seat. Fred Vasseur had allegedly said that he had 3 races to kind of save his career, and he's got 1 more of those to go next weekend at Monza. Without question, the wildest rumour of the weekend was the one that Fernando Alonso had been approached by Aston Martin to replace Sebastian Vettel next season. This one came out of nowhere, and why Aston would want to replace Vettel, who has scored the majority of their points, is really unclear. To be fair, Aston Martin did deny these allegations as soon as they came out, even if Vettel had already poured a little fuel on the fire by saying that he thinks he has a contract for next year. So it may be that this one is swept under the rug, or it may be that it comes back in a few weeks. Ultimately, Vettel did end the weekend by saying he thinks he will sign a new contract soon. Talking of Sebastian Vettel, he also got involved in the ongoing rivalry between the two Haas drivers, which definitely turned up a notch this weekend. Nikita Mazepin was really angry after qualifying, as he thought that Schumacher had overtaken him on the final warm-up lap, which was against their prior agreement, and it ended up with Vettel's lap being severely compromised. Being the absolute gentleman he is, Vettel apparently talked the stewards out of giving the two cars a penalty for that block, but then in the race we saw them fall out again, with Mazepin doing a particularly aggressive block on Schumacher, which led to Schumacher damaging his car and having to stop early on. So not ideal, and expect the tensions between those two to kind of continue to rise. Günther Steiner may have some harsh words to say in the post-race debrief on that one. Finally, there were some bits that came out from Mercedes this weekend. We know that Red Bull have launched an inquiry into the Mercedes power unit, which they believed could be using some kind of cooling trick to get around temperature regulations to gain more horsepower, but Mercedes ended up laughing off those suggestions, thinking that Red Bull were really wasting their time going down that alley. After the race, Lewis Hamilton suggested that Mercedes had got their strategy wrong. We heard him complaining in the race over the radio, but he still continued to back that kind of theory, saying that they should have run longer in the middle stint to allow for a better strike at Verstappen in the closing stages. There was also a bit of a rumour that Bottas had gone against team orders to take the fastest lap, but they were also kind of quickly put to bed, and it did also end up being a bit of a moot point because Hamilton took the fastest lap point anyway on the last lap. So yeah, this weekend we didn't get a lot of action on the track. There were some overtakes from Sergio Perez making his way back through the field, but the action off it is definitely starting to ramp up, and it may be we start to get answers to some of these rumours fairly soon. Expect the silly season gaps to start to fill in definitely over the next few weeks, and we could even see some announcements, particularly from the likes of Alfa Romeo, Williams, maybe even Mercedes coming at Monza next weekend. That's it for the Dutch Grand Prix rumour mill. If you have any thoughts on this week's video, please leave me a comment and let me know. And if you like this video, we'd love it if you could like and subscribe. As a brand new channel, any support really does mean the world to us.